my name is Kay McDonald, and welcome to the Power of Charms interview series. We interview interesting, powerful women that are having an impact in our world, and also tie in with charity charms, which is my business, and the use of symbols and logos to help create impact in the world as well. And today I have a really, really exciting guest. Her name is Gay Romack. Hello, Gay. How are you?
Hi, Kay. Thank you for having me today.
Oh, I love the conversations that we've had in the project that we just worked on. Gay is an ordained deacon and works closely with St. Peter's Episcopal Church. And you have a program that is connected with the church, that's started with the church as a prison ministry. Is that correct?
Yes.
It's called
Yeah.
Bridges Reentry. Tell us about Bridges Reentry and how you started it and what it does.
Thank you again. I started the prison ministry at St. Peter's. Like a lot of people who get involved in this whole justice involved programs, and it started really with a personal experience, unexpected, didn't think that it was going to happen, but my husband's secretary's son found himself in jail and she called our house one night and was hysterical. And I'd known this young man since he was a baby. And it was like, how could this happen? And so that was my first experience of even visiting someone in jail. So I went to see him every week for a year while he was waiting to be for his sentencing. And in that process, at the end of the time, he said to me, "Deacon Gay, you're pretty good at this." And I thought, oh, well, that's a sign that I should be in this ministry. And so I worked for about 2 years to get a time to go out to Perryville, which is the women's prison that was not far from St. Peter's. And up until that time, we had no interaction with the prison at all. Mm-hmm. And so that's really how it got started. And it's been almost 10 years, believe it or not. But from that ministry, Bridges Reentry emerged. And we began to see the difficulties of women when they were released from prison with no money, no home, no family. Everybody hated them for what they had put them, their families through. And they were in just a horrible situation, but they wanted to change, and they wanted different lives. And that's how Bridges Reentry started. How can we help them do that?
The name Bridges Reentry, the reentry is obvious because you're helping them re-enter into the world, and they face a lot of challenges. Bridges, is that because you were bridging the new life and the old life together, or
Yes. And it really started, we were talking earlier about symbols. It started with a missing puzzle piece. And that was the mentoring program that we did on the inside, along with our worship services. And because we knew that even when people got released, they weren't ready. And so we had to try to bridge that gap and give the women just resources and mentoring that they never had in their lives.
I don't think people realize that. And if you haven't been through that experience, you don't realize the trauma and the shock it would be to go from prison and then just be let out and not have any social services or things to really help you get through the transition. So I'm just so happy to hear about you, and the work that you do is just amazing.
Thank you.
So let's find out more about it. I
Okay.
had the pleasure of working with you. We were introduced by a good friend of mine, Pam Betts, who is also a nonprofit consultant, and she and I have done several projects together. And so we were just talking one day because I'm very interested in social enterprise, and all the products that Charity Charms makes are made by charities. So we were talking about maybe there might be some way that we could set up a social enterprise for Bridges Reentry. And I know that's a discussion that we've started and you know, might happen down the road. But in the meantime, you found out what we did and we created a bracelet for you, which I'm so excited to share.
Right. I have it on.
Yeah, well, and I have one right here. And
beautiful.
Thank you for wearing it, because that's what it's all about. And I hope this bracelet will do its job. Everywhere you go, people will ask you what it is. And then you get to talk about Bridges Reentry, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I loved having this and just the idea of it, because we have started a new program for mentoring on the outside. So when women are released, we match them with a mentor who will follow them for a year and really help them get oriented, help them with their reentry process. There's so many different things that have to be done. And it's mind-boggling, and it can be discouraging. And so these bracelets, I hope, will be a bridge between the mentor and the mentee, so that they can each have a bracelet and share that with each other, in the understanding that this is a project that it's not just I don't want to call it a project. It's not really a project. It's a relationship that
like a connector, kind of
connecting, yes, and that can empower these women to know that they're not alone, and that they have somebody else, a mentor, who is also wearing that same bracelet. So we're just beginning with that. We have our pilot program that we are just finishing, and we will start 2 more mentoring trainings through the end of this year. Oh, so we'll have a lot of opportunity to use these bracelets.
Well, and it's so fun that you're actually using the bracelet to bridge, and your name is Bridge. And I don't think that anyone has actually ever used the bracelets that we make for this specific purpose, where you give one to the mentor and one to the mentee, and then it bridges them together. I just think that's wonderful.
It just seems so logical to me when we were talking about it. That's, it wasn't planned, but that's
I know it wasn't planned. I had no idea when we started talking that would be the outcome. But I wanted to, your logo is so absolutely beautiful, but it's also so very, very significant. You were telling me the story of it. Can you tell the story of the Bridges logo?
Well, the logo actually comes from a stained glass window at St. Peter's Church. And the window is, everybody sees it. It's front and center above the cross in the church. And the window is very symbolic, because our community was in a little bit of conflict about having a stained glass window, because they didn't want one person to have ownership of it. And so this window was designed to have all of the different pieces coming together with a cross at the center. And you don't really see, you can just kind of imagine the cross at the center. It's not really there, but all of the pieces come together that signify the community coming together around this symbol at the church. And so we use that in just a piece of it in our logo to really symbolize that sense of community coming around together to be able to help these women who've been incarcerated. So that's really kind of how it all ties
It's
together.
so beautiful, and
The
it's
colors are
so
beautiful.
very symbolic. So
Mhm.
I just absolutely loved doing this project with you. It's what it's all about. We also did this custom card so that when people receive the bracelet too, they can also read about Bridges Reentry program. And a lot of people will keep this, to share with their friends. It's kind of like a business card, but a little bit bigger, so they'll keep it. But I wanted to share with what's on the back. It says, our mission is to create a survivor-led program of housing, healing, recovery, and sustainable economic empowerment for women who have experienced incarceration. I think that's just amazing, wonderful mission statement. And then it also shows on the back, it's kind of like a little wheel. It says prison mentoring, release day pickup program, prison ministry, social enterprise, which we touched on before, Magdalene House West, and Beyond the Gates post incarcerated mentoring program. So kind of the whole wheel of your wheelhouse of what you do. So
we found this impact model really helps people visualize what it is that we're doing and all of the different pieces of it that go together. It's not just the prison ministry, it's not just the mentoring, it's not just the Magdalene House, our transition home, but it's all these pieces together that ties in, I think, with the whole symbol of the logo, that it takes more than one aspect, and it takes a community coming together.
That's such symbolism and such meaning. It's just you've done a beautiful job. Tell me about Bridges Reentry. When did you start this, and how did you do it? It's a big project.
I had no idea what I was getting into, but one night at Perryville, a woman came up to me and she said, "Deacon Gay, I'm getting released in 30 days. And I was thrilled for her. And then I looked at her face and I saw this terror and panic. And I said, "What's wrong? You should be really excited." And she said, "I have no place to go." And I thought, right then, it was just, it just got to me. And I thought, oh my gosh, this just cannot be. But it was. And, I had this picture of getting released and going home and sitting around the family table, and everybody's going to be so excited that you're back. But for more than half of them, that doesn't happen. And there are a lot of, talk about symbolism, there are a lot of bridges that need to be crossed in reconciling and getting back on your feet. And so that's really how it started. I started looking at different models all across the country of how organizations were helping other women in primarily in housing, employment, but there was so much more than that. There was healing that needed to be done. And how do you do that? And I went to LA and I looked at a couple of models there, and I read as many books as I possibly could. And I finally fell in love with this model from an Episcopal priest, Becca Stevens, out of Nashville and Thistle Farms. And the model was housing and recovery and economic employment, the social enterprise. And so we became a sister organization from them. And from that, it's really just a networking organization. So we got a lot of advice from people who had been through this. When I started, there were about 20 residential homes like Magdalene House.
Mm-hmm.
And now there are more than 60 across the country.
Yeah.
So we had our first resident in March of 2019. So we're still learning.
And you're still very new.
And we're still new, right?
But
Yeah.
obviously there's a tremendous need for this model. So
Yeah.
kudos to you, Gay. Thank you for starting.
Thank you.
How can people support you? What do you need?
Well, I appreciate you asking that question. I think the best thing for people to do is to go to our website, and there's a list of material things. We always need paper products. We can use, we have a lending closet, but truthfully right now we have plenty. We have plenty of clothes. What I really want people to understand is to have an open heart to all these women and men who have been incarcerated and trying to get back on their feet and start a new life. And we need to have compassion for them and not fear, but compassion,
fear and stigma,
and embrace their stories and give them the chances that they need so that they can succeed, because we don't want them going back to prison. We don't need that. Women have families and kids and grandkids, and in many cases they have grandparents who have been taking care of their children. So we need to get these women on their feet so they can be employed and gain their self-respect and dignity and be successful.
Yes.
We want them all to be successful and independent.
But they have to rebuild their lives when they come
Exactly. Back. And our program, because it's a rent-free program, then it allows the women to get a job, save money, and help them be independent. We had our first graduate of the 2-year program several weeks ago, and I'm so proud of her. And she saved $15,000. It's huge. She never had a savings account before or a checking account. She'd never been to a bank. So she has a start, and she can be independent now, and she can make really good choices.
And did you team her with a mentor?
Yes. Yes.
Do you have a need for mentors?
We do. Thank you. Yes, I forgot about that actually. Yes. We do. And that information is also on the website.
Okay.
And we put them through a 4-week training session. There's an orientation about the mentoring program that's coming up the 20th of April. And that it's by Zoom. So if anyone's interested and think they might want to help in that way, they can come to the orientation and just see if it's something that they think that they might want to participate in to really make a difference in these women's lives.
It sounds like something a lot of women would probably really enjoy. It would give them lots of purpose, and so we'll be helping you spread the word. That's perfect. So we've got a couple of months here to spread the word and see if we can get some people to sign up and help. So I just want to thank you so much for what you've done. I'm just thrilled to learn about the program. It's in Arizona right now, but who knows where it can spread, right?
Right.
And so if people want more information, they go to bridgesreentry.org.
Yes.
Gay, you are the executive director and founder, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And again, thank you so much for the beautiful bracelet and the project that we did together. And I hope that it will open more doors and create more bridges and more possibilities for everyone involved.
Thank you, Kay. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gay. Thank you for being our guest today.